So we'll be handling drainage in some kind of creative ways too, because no more curb and gutter, and so you're likely
that
to
is
see
down there, Second and Pierre.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Pillsbury Frog Pond.
Oh.
I mean, that was a drainage issue in the 1860s.
I mean, we'll have maybe some trench drains in strategic locations and things that inconspicuously carry the water away. And we don't want a lot of big, you know, Humpty Dumpty things you have to walk around. So we want it to be as level and clean as possible.
So you have to find a way that the water goes somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a challenge.
It is a challenge, and you know, one way that we kind of have some pictures of KU Med Center and the way they handle all their pedestrian and vehicular drop-off and pickup area at their front door, and it's, you know, without curb and gutter. All of it without curb and gutter. And you know, it makes it so friendly, but you've got to be real careful how you delineate that vehicular.
So people drive when they aren't supposed to drive.
Because you know, in peak times at the hotel, we've given them a pretty extensive drop-off zone here.
Right.
But there's no formal barrier there, and so by virtue of pavement coloration and things like that, we hope to
try to differentiate that.
Exactly, and to keep pedestrians from crossing at those really busy points.
So get them to where they're supposed to be.
Exactly, without a bunch of signs, hopefully.
So when are they thinking of building all those?
They are ready to go. I mean, they've submitted their PUD, and so they've gotten some review comments back, but I mean, it's full steam ahead, and everything is contingent on everything else. And this was designed extra huge for that theater. I mean, there were a lot of stalls there, and
depending on what goes in there.
Yeah, that may be able to be toned down, and maybe more space go back to the park. So we've got some real primary features that are similar in both of these concepts. We've got an outdoor plaza area that spills out from the Discovery Center and helps kind of lead you to the pedestrian crossing across 3rd Street to make that link to the hotel and the conference center. Lots of outdoor seating, maybe even some chimeneas so that you can stay warm in the wintertime and have hot chocolate. They want to have some wintertime programming out there. We've been talking about some other exciting concepts that might be worthwhile, and that's why we actually have 2 park plans here.
Oh, okay.
And one is a possible restaurant focused on that.
Oh, all right.
A possible restaurant focused on the East End that helps to break out that parking lot. You know, that was a huge parking lot that was demanded of that group, and this would help deflect that a little bit and have a restaurant very similar to Tavern on the Green that might open right out onto the park, which would be a really nice spot.
If you can get them to not put them behind cages.
Yeah.
And also if you've got something to look at.
Oh yeah, visually, right. And that was there's a lot going on here to kind of keep it year-round activities. It's going to be such an improved entryway to the city that before was really compromised.
It was, but I have a real deep belief. I have lived here since '76. There have been bad areas. Private people have gone in and done something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it could be really neat, and you know, they want their cafe to spill out, and if there's a restaurant here, you've kind of got this fairly large area where people can congregate and use it as an entertainment district. A lot of shady areas to sit with niches, with maybe movable furniture like we talked about. And then kind of an event shelter.
Are you thinking like an elevated stage or something there also?
You know, I think we're thinking really informal, because I would like a family to be able to have their own family reunion there if they wanted. And I would like on a Friday night, if there's a combo that you guys would, you know, as a separate venue from City Park, a smaller thing, or it should be available to the conference center too, so they can have breakout sessions and things like that. Some real positive comments, I think, and I'm going to backtrack just a little bit just to make sure that everybody realizes the park plans that we're showing are very conceptual, and they really have a lot, things are still evolving. You know, people were coming up and mourning the loss of the theater, which we were too, but we're looking at some other exciting development opportunities there, and whatever that is will have something to say about the size of that parking lot, which I think people would like to see shrink. and more space possibly go back to the park, which would be real positive too. But we have to kind of wait and see how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together before we can jump on that. But our park plans, kind of one was a little more formal in layout, one was a little more loose, and one showed a restaurant right on the park, which I think was a real positive thing if we could interest somebody to take on that facility. There were very similar things between the two park plans, a very large open green that had a pavilion, a park pavilion anchoring one end, which could kind of function as lots of different things. Spill out space for the conference center on a nice day. If you've got a large group, maybe a family reunion one day with picnic tables underneath the shelter, and the next day you may set up a portable stage and have a combo out there. We kind of envision this as a real flexible space with some sort of an overhead structure so you can hang some lighting and some sound equipment and whatever you need. We want to really build the infrastructure, power, and water and the things that we need to facilitate lots of things in the future and have that space be really flexible. Outdoor dining seems to be a real positive interest, especially if there's a restaurant, but of course there's a cafe associated with the Discovery Center, and I think people would on a really nice day like today spill outside and sit in the park if there's adequate furnishings and facilities to do that. And same with the hotel and the conference center. I think it's nicely situated between all of those uses that I think that can function really well. Lots of comments about maximizing the green part of the park, maybe minimizing the pavement part, but there were a lot of positive comments about the transition, curbless transition between the hotel and the Discovery Center. So literally you can walk out the door of the Discovery Center. You don't have any curb and gutter to have to walk over all the way across the park and into the hotel door. And all of that is flat, decorative pavement, and we're working really hard to detail the distinct lines between vehicular circulation and pedestrian circulation to make it really safe and yet really visually stimulating and really pretty. The water element was mentioned as very important. Concerns about parking spilling into the neighborhoods, and are we meeting our parking requirements with all of these facilities, which we'll go back and revisit. Some mention about the combination of light fixtures, because now you've seen the new light fixtures that have happened at the North District of 4th Street, which will again appear on the South District of 4th Street, and again in this 3rd Street district. But that was all intended from the beginning to be a transitional style of light fixture that would work nicely with the existing Sternberg fixtures that are downtown. And eventually then downtown might incorporate the newer fixture at just the street intersections where you need a taller street light, but maintain the pedestrian fixtures in downtown so everything works together. So a comment was made that maybe we start to pull those Sternberg fixtures further into the South District. So we have the combination of pedestrian and street lights. And then a variety of tree species, particularly in the streetscape, not a single species up and down both sides of the street, but something that mixes texture and color at different times of year to get more year-round appeal. And then we even talked about the possibility of some public-private partnership, maybe, to help maintain some of the more maintenance-intensive elements of the streetscape, because we want this to be a really vibrant part of this entertainment district. And to be vibrant, you need some year-round appeal, and you need lighting effects and water effects and things like that. And I think there's going to be lots of ideas coming from the Discovery Center and from the hotel and the conference center and the Parks Department and the city, and putting all of these together that maybe, you know, we build the infrastructure in to do something that really facilitates doing some exciting and changeable things. Thank you.